We're live.
Awesome. Yep, just got it.
So, welcome to the first race, finally.
Test round, isn't it?
Yep. No points awarded. Just ensuring that everything works fine.
Yeah, for those of you who are unaware or might be new or might be in the chat and a member but need a refresh, welcome to the BTCO Touring Car Manager Cup. This is what a typical gamer might describe as a B-Spec Cup or a managerial series. So what we've done is we've taken a piece of racing simulation software, this one being GTR2, the official FIA GT racing game from the early 2000s. We've made a pack of cars and teams and set our players' requirements for building a team and a car and hiring a driver, and then we've edited them all so they're going to be driven by computer players, not real drivers, but race each other based on the differences in the car and team performance. And this kind of creates a different kind of gameplay and a little bit different of an event where the players are essentially the managers of the team. They're the Stefano Domenicalis and the Toto Wolffs of the world rather than putting themselves in the driver's seat. It's actually a lot more interesting than you might initially think, especially if you have a vested interest in your own team. Lorenzo Turi is here commentating with me today. He's the proprietor of the series. I'm Ted Ho. I'm the co-commentator. I have a wonderful, horrendous American accent that you're going to get to listen to a lot. And I'm also one of the team owners, and I'm horrendously biased. So let's get started here.
I think we are biased here. So, first of all, my connection is awful, so bear with me. This is my daily struggle, and if the streaming quality isn't up to 2020 standards, it's my fault. I'm sorry. We should take a look at the subscriber teams before we get to the track action. And can you see that?
There is a little bit of a stream delay. I'm waiting for it to come up, but I do not see it on the stream currently.
That might be an issue. I think that's too much delay. Let me check.
If you want me to, I can always just read out who's going to be competing for the test race from the top to the bottom from the team's budget page on the Discord.
Yeah, you can do
works.
that. I wanted
Awesome.
to show the cars, but...
So we're having a bit of an issue where we can't physically show you the cars, but in your mind's eye, imagine the teams that I'm describing to you. So Team Vodka Volvo was the first team to sign. They're running the legendary Volvo 850 Estate, or the Lego brick, as some might call it. It's one of the only estate super touring cars to ever compete in a world championship stage. It's quite powerful, but it's also very heavy and has a little bit of drag. It's quite reliable, and it's being piloted by Gabriele Tarquini, who's an extremely experienced and quick driver. After that, we have Team Falcon Speed running a Mazda 323F with the single overhead cam V6 that they borrowed off of Ford. That's a very, very interesting car. Not very powerful, but decently light and low drag. It has average reliability plus a slight bonus because they have a fuel supplier who's worked with them to create a good mix. Alan Menu is driving that car, numbered 14. After that, we have Dome Honda, which is a Honda Accord, 304 horsepower, 1053 for the weight. Very, very low drag, has a good drag coefficient. It's average to slightly good reliability. It's driven by Nino Hitori from Japan, who raced in the JTCC in the 1990s. After that, we've got Racing Wombats, who appear to be from down under, yet are running an Italian car in the Alfa Romeo 155 TSD2. Not very high on power, somewhat heavy, but very, very low drag and average reliability, being piloted by Tiff Nadell, who is an incredibly good driver, winning multiple world championships in the FIA GT1 class all the way into the early to mid-2010s before retiring. After that is Gravel Trap Racing, which is running the good old single overhead cam Ford Mondeo out of the UK. It's from North. Not a whole lot of power, decent weight, pretty much average in just about every way, but with a decent driver in William Hoy out of the UK from the BTCC. Look for them to net good results because of their driver skill in relation to their car performance. After that, there's BHB, also running an Alfa Romeo 155 customer setup, a little bit lighter than the previous team running the Alfa, about the same power, also average reliability, and they have Jean Alesi as their driver. They've brought in from Formula One. Again, very fast driver in an average car. Look out for that to make an impact. After that, speaking of impacts, we have Impact's Racing Team, also running the Honda Accord. Low power, moderate weight, very good drag coefficient, and good reliability with Emmanuel Pirot in the car. After that, we have BTNM running a Nissan Sentra. Very, very interesting setup on this team. The car is very far down on power, especially compared to some of the German and Japanese cars. Other Japanese cars, I should say. But it's very, very light and has an excellent drag coefficient with quite bad reliability. Their driver is a moderately skilled driver in Lilani Aiello, which I'm probably mispronouncing horribly, but they've left themselves a lot of budget left over to work on improving the car throughout the season. That's one aspect of the team, car, and driver combination choice that you're going to see start to play out, not in the test race today, but maybe further down the line as the teams who have chosen maybe kind of a crummy driver or car start to catch up as the season goes on, while the teams up top with a very, very good car and driver at the beginning of the season stall out because they have less to improve on. After that, we've got Russian Pride Racing running an AE110 era Toyota Corolla. That would be after Toyota Corollas were switched from rear-wheel drive to front-wheel drive. It's got average reliability, a decent drag coefficient, an okay amount of power, and it's pretty average on weight, being about 1,050 kilos. The heavier cars get towards 1,100, and the lighter cars almost get towards the high 900s or very, very bottom of the 1,000 range. So that car is pretty much average all the way around with a decent driver. They should be a solid mid-pack runner and very consistent. After that is Smile Power Racing, the first of the teams that's actually running a rear-wheel drive configuration with a BMW 318i inline 4. That car has decent power, average weight, good drag, and actually quite good reliability. Just slightly better than good. Good plus because of their fuel supplier. They have Hans Joachim Stuck in the car and have used up most of their budget to get him. After that, it's Burano Driving School Motorsport, also with the Lego Brick Volvo Estate Wagon. They also have good reliability, and they've brought in rally legend Colin McRae to drive their car. After that, it's MSR, the first of the Toyota entries with the Toyota Carina E. Not very much power, but quite light. It's only 1,028 kilos, so a 20 to 30 kilo advantage compared to some of the other cars. Although somewhat draggy, it has good reliability, and they have a solid driver in Jason Newhouse. After that, it's Team JRA, which is also running an AE110 Mark Corolla. Again, pretty average power, pretty average weight, not quite good drag coefficient, average reliability, and they've got Biela from the Italian touring car scene to drive their car. After that, it's HRT, which is my team, and it's kind of crappy. We've got the VW Vento, which is not a very good acclaim in the touring car world. Its average weight at 1055 and moderate power at 283 makes it kind of a mid to backpack runner. It's got poor reliability, but we have Christian Schmidt from the DTM driving the car and a little bit of budget spare. After that, it's Random Racing with a Renault Laguna, 302 horsepowers, 1,056 kilos, very good drag coefficient at 0.31 compared to a bad drag coefficient, which would be about 0.40 to 0.45. It's got average reliability, and they have Ronaldo Marino driving the car, also a decent driver. After that, it's Melis Motorsport, which has the only Mitsubishi in the field, a Carina with 301 horsepower, weighs 1,063 kilos, has about average drag and good reliability. They do have Yvonne Muller driving the car, so look out for them to make a difference there. After that, it's Cosmo Oil Power Works with the only other Mazda in the field. They've got Atlantis instead of a 323F, which is pretty average all across the board with 293 power, 1053 kilos of weight, a drag coefficient of 0.39, and average reliability. After them, they've got Grimelli Motorsport, who is running one of the only Peugeots in the field, a Peugeot 405 MI16 twin overhead cam unit.
Should be able to see the screen now.
Yeah, they're all coming up as we go through them, which is pretty nice.
Right.
You can see this nice black motif that's kind of reminiscent of the Andrea Moda cars from Formula 1. This has 298 horsepower. It's quite light at only 1,023 kilos, but the drag coefficient from how bricky it is not good at 0.38. It's got poor reliability with a slight bonus due to their Italian fuel supplier giving them a special blend, and they've got Radish driving the car. They're almost entirely tapped out on budget, so it'll be interesting to see after the first development cycle if their results let them net enough prize money to keep up. After them, we've got RTS and another Alfa Romeo 155 TSD2, again with about 300 horsepower, about 1,050 kilos, very good drag coefficient, and average plus reliability. They've got Zelik as their driver and a quite beautiful looking skin, I must say, with the gray and blue and white motif. They've used up most of their budget, so also it should be interesting to see how they develop throughout the series. After them, as a special guest, we have revived a team from the past. We have Raven West Racing running the only all-wheel drive unit in the field with an Audi A4 Quattro. The statistics on this car are completely unknown, and they have two fantastic drivers in McCain and Scott driving the number 1 and number 2 cars in this series. These we put it as a challenge for the team owners that are playing the game as the team managers to maybe try to beat a legendary team from the annals of history in real life. Another welcomed team from real life is Tom's Team Corona from the World Touring Car Cup in the late 90s. They've got a Toyota Corona Mark 14, which is quite a beautiful car in that white and red livery, I must say. It's got a lot of power. It's got a decent amount of weight. The drag coefficient is not that great, but probably because they've got a lot of downforce, and they have two fantastic drivers in Tom Christensen out of the World Touring Car Cup, and I don't know his first name, but Sekia, who they've taken out of...
Masanori.
Yeah, out of the Japanese Touring Car Cup. He's not quite as quick as Christensen, but they do have quite a solid team dynamic going on. After that, we do have Bowerbird Competition Racing, again running a Volvo 850. However, this time it's not an estate. This is a works package works team being run by the manufacturer themselves, giving a cut to the team manager. And this has about as much power as the estate model and about the same weight, but a much, much better drag coefficient. And two fantastic drivers in Rydell and Kenny Brack.
All right. And I want to remind you that these last three teams are the only works entries, and so they're allowed to field 2 cars. And
yeah, everybody else is a privateer. Yeah. They can only afford one. They're kind of poor.
I'm gonna show very briefly all the other cars. This is PHP. Then we have Racing Wombats. This is Smile Racing, Smile Power. Then we have Gravel Trap in this iconic scheme, I must say.
That's pretty on that car.
Then we have the 2 Accords with Impact and Dome. If you're a fan of Super GT, you've already seen this scheme. Then we have Cosmo Oil, with probably the most 90s scheme of them all. And Falcon Speed. And we have the Mitsubishi from Team Miles Motorsport. The Nissan of BTNM, which is the only car in a garage for some reason. The Lagoon, I think you've seen it before, from Random Racing. Another iconic livery in the MSR Toyota. And we have the 2 Corollas of JRA and Russian Pride. The Vento from our co-commentator. And finally the 2 Estates. This one in another iconic scheme, which reminds me of Simtech. And the Liter Brick.
Nice, the Lego.
Yeah. That's the greatest deal in the history of sponsorships.
It's perfect.
So,
The product is just like the car.
yeah. So, we're ready for the race. Oh, I need to select the safety car. And we're ready. Both races will be of 15 laps with random weather. The first race we have a qualifying free practice session, which we will skip because it's just for the drivers to get acquainted with the track. And the qualifying session will be of 15 minutes and will dictate the grid for race 1, while race 2's grid will be completely random, so we'll give some spice to the competition. And last check, everything seems fine, we're ready to go. Here we are at the track. I'm gonna skip this session and do it in time acceleration mode. Oh, creator note. I know Tom Christensen's name is spelled wrong, but I had to add an extra M because it will break the game otherwise. Are you checking the stream, Ted?
Absolutely.
Is it fine?
Yep.
Alright.
I've got the monitor. We can see the safety car in the pit garage right now, and we're watching you advance through practice 1 right now. This will just take a minute as we advance the timing so that we get to the qualifying and race session, guys. After that, it should be fine.
We should already get an idea of the levels of the field.
This is actually really good, and if you look at how close the field is, even the teams that have not so fantastic cars down at the bottom of the field are still close to the top 20, which is good. And between first and it looks like about 10th, there's only about a 1.5 difference, which is really good to see. Some independent entries up there in the top 10 to 20 cars as well, which is awesome. It's not just completely dominated by the all-wheel drive quattros, although it is a wet, rainy session, so I do expect them to be up front.
Yep. The Beamer is actually really good in the wet. As
Interesting.
far as what I could tell from the test I've done.
I suppose it would be because of that rear-wheel drive, you're propelling yourself through the track rather than pulling yourself with the front tires. So when it's slidier and there's less grip, even though it's a little bit more dangerous for the driver to be driving a rear-wheel drive car, it would be an advantage because oversteer is faster than understeer, even if it's a bit scarier.
Here we go. We can proceed to the real deal. Ooh, it looks like there'll be thunderstorm weather. So it'll be.
So we're gonna have a wet qualifying.
Yep. It's flooded.
Oh no. Oh wow, look at the amount of water standing on the track. Even with GTR2's 20-year-old graphics, you can see they're quite clearly trying to show you there that there's huge puddles and rivers of water all the way across the circuit there.
Here are the first cars leaving the pits. Looks like Bila is the first in line. There he is.
Christensen, Monero, then Piro.
And everyone is getting ready to have a lap done because the conditions can change.
I wonder if Biela's going to have an advantage from going out first. I know they're AI drivers, not real-life drivers, but typically in a wet session you want to be as far away from other cars as possible because the spray is a huge issue with visibility. You know, especially in the wet, when you're trying to look around and slither across the track and find some extra grip where it might not want to give you any, not having a car in front of you to accidentally copy and get drawn into and follow is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Traffic will be a decisive factor.
Ayla does look decently quick on his outlap so far, actually.
I think we lost the track map. I had it before, but I don't know why it's not showing.
Got this first group of Biela, Christensen, and then I can't quite tell who that is.
Biela is off in his outlap.
is gonna beach it. Nope, he's still on. That's okay. He managed to
That
go
was
off
risky.
and then on and continue.
Yeah, with this level of, with this much water on the track, we might see some weird lines from the AI. But don't worry.
That speed comes with a price too. We might even see people going off. Yeah, they're definitely looking for grip, trying to use the rain line a couple of places. He's, rather than doing the in-out in you would typically do in the dry. Oh, wow, they're all going off. They're trying to use the outside edge of the track where there would be more grip because the tarmac isn't as worn down. That's something you do in real life but isn't quite accurately modeled in a lot of different simulators, is that when you're on a real-life racetrack and there's a lot of rain or standing water on the track, the normal racing line has been run on by the cars more than the edges of the track, so much that the asphalt is smooth and it's slippery when it's wet. Comes Biela for his first time lap.
Let's see if now we have... Oh, now we have the standings.
There we go. Excellent. Yeah, they're really struggling with the rain. Just about everybody's going off at the same 2 or 3 corners, so I guess it's a toss-up then, and they're kind of all equal.
Yeah. Maybe heavier cars will have more difficulties in these conditions.
Could be. Typically what I've found is actually the lighter the car, the more the grip falls away with dampness. Because if you think about it, a heavier car, even though it's slower and it handles worse, it's displacing more water because it puts more weight down onto the ground to push the water away. Because I found when racing front-wheel drive touring cars in real life that they handled much, much better than something like a Legends car or a Formula Ford that only weighs 500 kilos.
See, we also have Driver's Insight with Ted. The perfect commentator.
I'm like your resident Martin Brundle. I'm just slightly less obnoxious. Look at the Biela's not even on the track, and he's still going for a timed lap. That's incredible.
I think it's in the second to last corner now.
Ooh.
Still in a bit of the rallycross line across.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I tell you what, he is genuinely quick, though. He's definitely gapped Christensen on his first time lap. Don't know if the stewards are going to be fine with that, considering the fact he's 4 wheels off the circuit for about half the lap so far, but...
Implying we have stewards.
yeah, actually, you're right.
And here we have our first lap.
Might be about a 210. Yep, 208.4.
Everyone's
that track position
though.
Advantage.
With
Christensen with only a 209.5. So that track position might actually be worth quite a lot.
And now Stuck has posted a really fast time.
On Jakob Stuck, 206.3. Wow.
And here we have already some traffic issues.
Ooh. Yeah, quite a lot. Look at this. Yeah, he's caught up behind, one of the other Privateer Alphas. A little bit of a nudge. And then right off again.
Guys, it's qualifying.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're knocking 7 bells out of each other, and it's only qualifying.
We have Nidell trying to pass. He wants track position.
But here's where we'll see the Alpha's going to cap out on the straight faster, I'd imagine, because it really doesn't have a good drag ratio.
And despite the panel bashing, Müller has posted the second time.
Wow. They're both off at turn 1 fighting each other all the way in the gravel trap.
Let's try and follow Stuck, the current pole sitter.
Doing really, really well on that Privateer BMW.
Team manager Mike Bell will be proud of his driver.
He'd be very, very happy with the performance that Hans Struck is putting in. Look at that. You can see the drive off the corner. The rear-wheel drive car is really rotating on the throttle. Even if they're sliding slightly and counter-steering, it's faster to propel the car through the slide than it is to be going off the track because the front tires are sliding a lot like in a front-wheel drive car. You'll even see where he went off in the gravel there. The Alfa Romeo that was behind him went off much wider into the sand trap by trying to carry the same amount of speed, although all the drivers appear to be going off there here in the wet.
Doesn't seem to be a lap as fast as the one is posted before, but it's still considerably faster than P2.
he might be safe with the whole 1.3 seconds in hand. We'll have to see. I think I can start to see a tiny bit of a dry line forming, and the rain has let up, and there's 25 cars on the circuit.
It's possible, but the rain is still really heavy, so it shouldn't last long. And Simpson 01 is improving as of now.
Yeah, the times do seem pretty static for now. How much of that's traffic, how much of that's the rain continuing to come down, not quite known.
Yeah, it's really difficult to post a decent lap in these conditions.
But he's off everywhere. The circuit would just be absolutely ruined by now. There'd be so much gravel, and like when you come off and on again when you're in the rain, the ground gets soft, so the cars would be tearing chunks of mud up out of the track edge and throwing it all over the circuit.
The Alphas are really struggling.
Really, really struggling. I think it might be because of the weight. They're a little bit lighter than some of the other front-wheel drive cars, but have a decent amount of power. So that could be what we were talking about earlier a little bit, with sometimes the heavier cars actually doing better. Because, for example, the BMWs being rear-wheel drive, they're actually pretty heavy because they've got a whole
I actually want to follow one of the estates to see how they fare.
That would be really interesting to see.
There we go. You have Tarquini, which is actually currently in 22nd position.
Very, very interesting. And he's not a slow driver by any stretch of the imagination either. His last lap was another 2:12, and the circuit seems to be getting worse as the session goes on so far. Not a lot of drivers are improving. That could also be because they have the soft, wet tires on for qualifying, and they're starting to overheat. You can see the brakes on the Volvo Estate even glowing as he heads into turn 1 there.
Such level of detail for a 15-year-old game.
Yeah, I'm really interested by how much the Volvo Estates are struggling. I actually kind of thought they would have done a little bit better being slightly heavier, but it could be all that weight on the rear and the rear weight distribution is making the kind of understeering properties of the car even worse.
Actually, it's not that bad at the moment, considering that basically it's a year-old car compared to the competition. There's no aero.
Yeah, exactly. In 1995, with the introduction of a lot more of the aerodynamics and kind of the counterban on putting aerodynamics on the cars, the Volvo Estates were quickly outclassed, which is why the factory team has brought the 850 non-estate version and stuck a wing on it in a splitter. So
there we go, catching a glimpse of Colin McRae, doing his best in these favorite conditions, probably.
Judging by the way everybody else is driving off the course so much, I'm sure he's plenty comfortable. 210? Yep, 210.5.
It's quite a surprise to see Will Hoy so down in the standings.
Yeah, I definitely thought Hoy would have been a little bit quicker.
It's definitely one of the best packages in the whole field.
Now, I couldn't quite catch him earlier, but I thought that he might have gotten stuck behind somebody a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably the case.
But it does look like he has clean air right now, and that was only a 212, and he hasn't improved.
He might want to try a quick pit stop, put some fresh tires, and try again.
New tires would definitely not be a bad idea at this point.
The clock is ticking. Now we are 4 minutes to go for this session. Yeah, the Mondeo is struggling so much.
Really, really struggling. It might be because of that V6 in the front. It probably has something to do with the weight distribution. The Renault Laguna and the Ford Mondeo are two of the only V6 equipped cars that are also front-wheel drive in the pack.
I think the Laguna was in line 4. You're probably referring to the Mazda Zigos.
Am I thinking about this?
Yeah. Pretty sure about that.
Renault Laguna. I'm just looking up some quick statistics on the Renault Laguna Super Touring cars, which I must say are quite pretty. EV601. They are a V6. Single overhead cam. Transverse mounted.
I actually didn't know about that.
It might depend on the year. And that was a Williams prepared one, and because I'm seeing some with inline fours as I'm now going through and looking them up.
And speaking of Lagunas, Moreno, he slipped there pretty hard.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, looks like that's it for this session. Nobody is improving. I'm just gonna enjoy the cars going by for the last 2 minutes. Also, the 323 has a V6, if I'm not mistaken.
I do believe so. Yep, single overhead cam V6.
Another surprise of this session. Absolute
Yeah, we've
favorites.
seen some of the factory teams that we expected
Yeah.
to be incredibly quick are really struggling in the wet.
Raven West was definitely the favorite for the win of the event, but McCain is in 12th at the moment and I lost track of
I think
Rick Scott.
It'll be really, really interesting to see if the race is dry. If we have the wet qualifying but a dry race, I think that'll be very, very interesting
Rick
indeed.
Scott is doing way better than the #1 driver at the moment.
Way better.
They may want to reconsider their positions.
Everybody going off in the same corners, though, pretty consistently.
Yeah. Here we have Pirro. Pirro is just in P5. Decent
Nice,
qualified.
excellent.
The Accord is a really competent car.
So what I'm seeing from looking it up is the Renault Laguna, the first generation from 1994 to 2001, was available with a huge amount of engine options. And the top engines were a 2-liter inline 4 gasoline, and which was twin cam, and a single cam 3-liter V6. So I'm still very interested in the Renault Laguna question because I'm a nerd like that.
We're gonna find out later. I'm putting my 2 cents on the inline 4.
No, I bet you that it is. But the way it looks like it's handling right now, I also wouldn't be surprised if it was the 6, frankly. Then again,
it's on the heavier side. It's one of the heaviest car on the track.
Quite an attractive car, in my opinion, actually, though.
Yeah.
Especially in race trim, with the longer bumpers and the splitter and the side skirts.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's quite nice looking.
It was good looking. Especially the 98 livery.
Now, we do have some people starting to improve. A lot of people that were in the 211s and 212s down at the bottom of the field. Now the slowest time is a 210. So the track might be starting to dry just a little bit. Although this is going to be everybody's last time lap because the session is over. Have to see if we have some last-minute shakeups here as people start to improve.
I doubt that. I think the grid is set yet. They are going to the pits. And times are really high as of now, so we might call the end of qualify.
I really do love the way that 323 looks in that 1980s multicolor livery. It looks like the top 3 is Stuck, Muller, and Alesi.
Yep, good job with the French.
Excellent job by the French.
Stuck has completely dominated the field.
Absolutely. 7/10 off of second place, 2 seconds faster than third. If you look at that fantastic time spread, between third position and 14th, everybody is within 1 second of each other, from a 2:08.4 to a 2:09.2. And really just quite close from third into 10th. The midfield is going to be incredibly interesting, especially if we see if anything happens during the race if it's dry compared to the rainy conditions.
Let's also see the lower side of the grid. And Yeah,
Hoy
the
and,
big
Hoy
surprise.
and McRae in last and second to last is just wow.
Yeah, that's a big surprise from Will Hoy. So, to do a quick recap, we have Stuk in pole position, followed by Miller, Alesi, Bila, Pirro, Scott, Velic, Sequia, Liddell, Schmidt, Hattori, McCain, Breck, Menu, Cleland, Christensen, Newhouse, Radicic, Moreno, Rydell, Thompson, Tarquini, Aiello, McCree, and Will Hoy.
Very rare conditions that we call out Colin McRae and Will Hoy as last and second to last.
I think Hoy just got stuck in traffic and McCree has to cope with a really heavy car. Because Tarquini as well didn't do that better. Alright, we can go to the starting grid for the first race of the Touring Car Manager League. I'm gonna put 1 liter of fuel in my car, so it stops somewhere in the track and doesn't interfere with the actual race. And yeah, we can press start and hope that everything goes the right way. So, let's see. Here we're seeing the grid in its full colors.
Honda's doing quite well up front is one thing that I've noticed.
Yep.
Of the front-wheel drive cars, they're really up there. Factory Toyotas as well. The diversity of the Alphas is great. Honestly, quite surprised to see Caston qualify in 10th there in the Vento.
Yeah, but it's one of the best drivers on the grid, so he can squeeze every ounce of performance out of the car.
It's very, very interesting to see that some of the good teams with more affordable drivers are not doing quite as well as the shoestring car budget teams that hired an excellent driver. I think it's very, very interesting.
And that's what I was hoping for, to be honest, for this championship. So here we are.
You could bring Rodhan to the race, but you can't make him win it.
And here we go. We're off. Good start from Stuk, but he has a rear-wheel drive car, so it was quite expectable.
Yeah, rear-wheel drive, definitely good start. We'll see if everybody gets into turn 1 clean here. I do see a yellow flag being waved by one of the marshals at the back of the group.
Track, but don't worry, it's just a safety car.
Excellent.
Here we are, Billet trying to move us. No,
That's a bit
it's
too
still
tight.
far. Yeah. Let's see the rest of the grid. Ooh. There's Scott attacking Village. He can bring home the move.
It's going to be on the outside for the right-hander, but then
Ooh,
on the... Ooh, break.
Oh, and there's contact.
Just a little bit, just a rub. They should be fine. They're both going to keep going. A little right front to left rear bump, but they luckily didn't get stuck together too bad.
Yeah, these cars aren't that easy to damage, so you shouldn't see much trouble. Often you will probably see bumpers flying away, but that's part of the game.
The cars pretty much don't have very much destructibility to them unless you literally chuck them into a barrier at incredibly high speed. Safety car backing up the field as it normally would do in a Formula 1 start, as it should. In case there needs to be a safety car that has to collect them after lap 1. Now that a little bit more... Yeah, a little bit more of the true pace is starting to come out of the cars. Even just after the start, you can see some of the privateer entries that managed to qualify high dropping back slightly already. Stuk's still out front in that privateer BMW, though. Really, really doing a great job.
We have Pirro tackling Miller already.
That's going to be interesting to see because they're about as good as drivers. Yep, main straight move.
Try multiple lines.
Now, I'm a little bit behind compared to you, and I'm just starting to see the weave down the front straight.
Already trying the interesting tactics.
I definitely think he can get him on the brakes into turn one. Looking at the fact that he pulled out of line there. Honda seems to be quite good on the brakes.
Oh, Moreno's trying to move on McCain. There's no space there.
Oh, here you go. That's real tight. Oh, that was always going to close up. But then we got the next left-hander afterwards.
And McCain is trying on Preseason at the moment. On the outside. Oh. Nice overtake.
Nice. Very, very good. See, that whole section is
already exploiting the four-wheel drive.
Exactly. As they're coming down through the middle sector there, that combination of those 2 or 3 corners back to back to back really produce good side-by-side racing. Because if you make an offensive move on one corner, you're then on the incorrect line for the next one. So there's a lot of point and counterpoint going on. 3 of these cars, Monero and Radlish and Christensen and McCain all kind of stacked up and of similar paces to one of each other.
Yeah, this is gonna be
looks like so far.
Here we have Schmidt and Cleland also.
Schmidt's been falling back consistently ever since the start, pretty much.
Everyone is slowing down. What happened? That might have been a spin or something.
Definitely something happened up front. Somebody got into
Now
somebody and everybody
pretty
checked up. Now they're moving again. They appear to be clear. Might have just been an overreaction by the artificial drivers to a local yellow.
And the Tom Spare doing the race side by side.
Tom's pair making the pair of factory Tom's drivers making a really good job of it. They started, I believe, it was 19th and 16th, and now they're up to 15th and 16th.
Ooh,
so that's it.
Trying to move on Schmidt.
Huge all the way.
So yeah, we had a good bunch. I think the only 2 drivers that have managed to avoid the massive slowdown were Stuck and Miller because they've been pulling away.
Absolutely huge gap up front. I'd be interested. Muller does have the fastest lap. I'd be interested to see the tire wear difference between the all-wheel drive car and the rear-wheel drive car. Excuse me, the front-wheel drive car and the rear-wheel drive car. My bad. Muller's in the Mitsubishi. It looks so similar to the Audi that I can constantly think it's an Audi, but I know it's not.
Yeah. It's not in traditional Mitsubishi colors, so it's a bit difficult to recognize, but the big Red Bull logo should do the trick. And we have a Lazy being the first of the Alphas, but he's already being attacked by Rick Scott. Ooh, he tries the late move.
Really late and around the outside. A little bit of contact.
He'll have to wait a bit.
Definitely. Main straight, we'll have to see what it's like there. I know.
There he goes, again on the outside.
Yeah. Ooh.
That was a great overtake.
Just all clean, all the way around the outside. Denied the launch of the driver on the preferred line.
Now.
Definitely, for sure. Muller's Muller's put the fastest lap in the last 2 or 3 laps in a row. The only one faster on the track is Scott right now.
He's done that with the overtake. Stuck seems to have some trouble at the moment. Maybe he's made a little mistake because he's lost some ground to Müller. And Müller is already trying to capitalize. Let's follow the battle for first. You can see Stuck pulling away on the mixed section while Müller can make up ground on the straights. Ooh, that's really close. He's lost a bit on the traction. And Scott has already pulled a big gap on Jean Lazy. And is going to catch the first 2.
He definitely will at this rate. Now the question is he just going to
Oh,
run out
Miller
of
is
laps
trying
to
to
win
move.
the race?
Ooh, and Miller is in the lead. Wow. It seems that the BMW has lost some of the advantage that he had on wet weather. Let's see if he can really reply to the attack, but I think it's a bit too... Ooh, a bit too, but he's trying anyway. Ah. Risky move. Now we also have Bila trying to get past Jean Alesi.
Biel has definitely been fast all weekend, though, although a little bit slower in the dry than he was in the wet. We'll have to see how that pans out. Definitely on for a top 5, although a podium I'm not quite so sure, although the front group is slowing themselves up. Christensen has put in the fastest lap all the way down in 14th after making another couple of overtakes and getting into clean air.
Must have had a good run on the last lap before reaching Glenland. Let's see on the front because Rick Scott is here. He's already trying to move on street. Ooh, really aggressive behavior from the Scottish driver. Oh, Bila. Bila is side by side. And back there, Attori has had a bad exit of the hairpin and is being passed by Kenny Breck. And now it's a battle of the Hondas. Ooh, Piero goes on the outside. And also McCain. I thought he might have some trouble at this point. It's been sucked in the bunch. Let's see if he can resist from Delic.
There seems to be a big group of cars all the way off the back of the field that got really, really bunched up in that slowdown.
Yep.
McRae, Tarquini, Nemelo, and Schmidt, as well as Morarov and Menu, looks, and Hoy.
For them, as soon as the body here is settling down.
All the way down from 19th to 22nd. I think probably just because of that big bunch up earlier,
right
they all got
missing part of the rear bumper.
just a little chunk of it, just half.
That's probably too
like
car behavior. I think someone behind him wanted to say hello. And as expected, it looks like the two estates are really struggling. Even with dry weather. Oh, and Bila is in second place now. He missed
Wow.
the move. But he's on a roll. He's now going for first.
Even in the dry, he's really making it up.
Wow. And he's in first.
He's got the, oh my god, he's trying to go around the outside at the final corner and he gets it done.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get an average car and put one hell of a driver in it.
Oh my god, he's just really on it this weekend.
Stuka lost some of his pace as of now. Might be struggling with the tires. He asked too much in the first laps.
Could be those rear tires really starting to overheat and go off from him. I know in GTR2 in the normal BTCO for drivers instead of managers, the rear wheel drive cars had such bad tire wear in the sake of fairness, we had to turn it off. The tires would just be gone by the end of the race. And I've known several leagues that do that, because that's definitely a weakness that the BMWs had in real life, and it shines through in the sim even more so, because a lot of simulation softwares calculate tire wear is just a flat percentage rather than kind of dynamically like they would in real life. So you can't get that advantage that a really, really good driver would have of saving the tire quite so much.
I'm predicting one hell of a battle for the last spot on the podium.
This is pretty nuts. We got a big gaggle in here of lots of decent to average cars with really, really good drivers at the top of the field, all the way from about 12th down to 4th. Got a huge stack up of guys.
Can he break to it impossible on the outside?
Oh man, that's good.
And suddenly we found
a lot of pace again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting strategy, maybe saving some tires for the later stages. Who knows? Only the folks at this mild power pitbull know what's happening.
They suddenly fed him a bunch of pictures of smiles. He sent it to the display on his dash, and all of a sudden he's got more smile power.
It's got a big encouragement.
So we've got your cat here, and we know you like it. You know what you have to do if you want to see it again. We won't elaborate.
You see that little tiny on the right side.
You're the long, skinny
Lower
one
it.
on the right. You push it more to win, please. Now, still really struggling with the tires, though. He's starting to fall into the clutches of Brack, who's been on a charge. Ooh, as Piero goes around the outside of Brack, they all want Stuck for that last podium position.
Piero almost lost it. He was going to mess up big time.
That was one of those classic racing incidents where the faster driver behind hits the slower driver in front, and then they almost spin themselves out because of it.
Yeah. Mad props to Stuck for keeping.
And this is slowing Piero up into Brack, who had previously already overtaken him. Yeah, Stuck's doing one hell of a defensive drive now. There's a truly train behind Stuck.
Now he's trying again on the outside. And this time it's good, and also, ooh, he's lost 2 spots in a single corner.
Once you start losing them when the tires are going off, or you're that much slower than your opponents. Yeah. Once one goes through, a second's gonna follow. You don't normally get overtaken. Exactly, you don't get overtaken one at a time, because when you're moving around on the circuit and somebody overtakes you, then that also means you have a bad corner because you have to concede the position to the offensive move. And then that makes you even slower, and you just start getting eaten and eaten and eaten. It snowballs really badly. And even onto the straight, a fantastic move there by Nadell. Outside move through McRae. And then big run onto the straight. But yeah, waiting. I also think the BMW might be pretty decently quick in a straight line. Yep. Judging by its statistics. And the Alpha's a little bit of a brick. I seem to notice they run out of top speed on the end of the longer straights compared to some of the other people.
Bill is still leading. And Müller is coming closer. So it's not over, in my opinion.
For sure. A lot of running left to go.
I think we are at half race. Let's see. Yeah, lap 8 of 15.
Working lap 8. Oops, someone's off in the back. If we look down to about position 6 or 7. Just saw somebody loop the car.
I think it was one of the
I'm not
Audis.
sure who it was. They were a darker colored car.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the Audis, because Rick Scott is in 10th. Now,
Rick Scott was running in 4th or 5th, and now he's all the way back in 10th. He had himself a little bit of a half spin.
Newhouse.
Not good for Scott. That might have taken the life out of what was left of his tires that he needed to be overtaking people in the earlier phase of the race.
Here we have our own impression of the Italian job, with all the 3 Alphas battling for the
Watching
position.
the Italian Touring Car Championship for 5th to 7th with Lacey and Muller and Alphas fighting each other with Zelic behind.
Tries to spin around the Alpha. really aggressive move.
Ooh, big aggressive move.
We all know McCain for his ultimate aggression on track. Yeah, and again, on the American.
Mazda's doing really well there in the midfield. Good showing. And another nudge by
Look at this
McCain as he
bunch.
tries to get around the Alpha in front of him.
Look at this bunch.
The
And it's all for
Mazda's and the
points.
Volvo into it.
It's all for the points. Well, of course we want more points for this test race, but first 15 cars in a normal race will get points. So it's really interesting.
And we can see that group in the back of what looks like, I believe it's Thompson, Aleo, Radish, Hoy, Simelli, Samia, Tarquini, and McRae that got separated off of the back of everybody else is starting to catch that group in front of them. But I don't know what happened earlier in the race that they all fell so far back, especially these are some of the fastest drivers in the factory cars or the faster privateer cars, and they really got separated off of the back of everybody else. I think maybe because of that big bunch up that happened out of the final corner on lap 2 or 3.
Yeah. That's surely shaking the level. And also Hoy,
A lot of the missing parts of the body too. I wonder if they all didn't get into it and they triggered that big slowdown.
Yeah, probably. Shockwave braking zone. This one got shafted in the rear. Sekia is completely missing the rear bumper.
Absolutely. And if you look at Sakia and Schmidt, I mean, even if they're not in the fastest cars, they're two of the fastest drivers in the field. They qualified about midfield and were running up, both of them about near 10th at one point. And then after that big stack up, they've both been down in 20th ever since then. So that must have been what happened to the two of them. Very unlucky. We'd have even more people dicing up behind the Truly train that Yvonne Muller is starting up front if that big stack up hadn't happened
Look
earlier
at
in
this.
the way.
4 cars for the podium and the battle for the win.
Excellent. We got Nadell, we got Schnook, we got Brack, and we got Piero in there, all in there.
Wow. This is gonna be awesome on the final laps.
I tell you what, Hans Joachim is really struggling with those tires, but he absolutely refuses to give up. Every time he's been overtaken, he's made at least
He's
one
letting
counter.
Ooh. Nadell takes advantage of the situation, but no. Finds he's found himself stuck behind Piero.
I guess you could say that he's stuck between them.
Yeah. But that's probably due to the experience of the German driver.
Has to be. There's no that you can tell all the way through the middle sector that BMW is hurting. The rear tires are dead on that car.
When Nadell goes for the podium.
I think Nadell's going to get it. Now, the interesting thing about this move, brakes glowing on the Alpha, a little bit of contact. When we get to the main straight, that Honda has more power, weighs about the same, and has a much better drag coefficient. I'd be interested to see... I'd be really, really interested to see if Piero can get back up to him and get by him on the main straight into turn 1 again.
Look at Stuck! Trying the aggressive move. And in the meantime, Muller has gotten back the lead.
Muller's gotten
now
back
for
the
the
lead
win.
for Piero. Brack is in there again now, too. We got Brack, we got a Lacey. This fighting is allowing everybody in that mid-pack battle for the end of the podium places to really, really catch up. Piero still got pace on that car, though. He sucked right back up to the end of the Muller, and they're not doing the fastest laps by any stretch of the imagination.
Ooh, and Nadell has caught up to the first two. And at this point, we shouldn't rule him out of a possible race win.
Tiff really, really having a good race here. He has the brake. You can see how hard he's pushing the car. The front brakes on that Alpha are glowing in every single major braking zone, rolling a lot of corner speed. Ooh, oop, stuck on Biela's bumper
There
there.
it goes. Tries to move, and it worked. He's now in second place.
Made that stick very, very nice.
Real aggressive style, but it paid off.
Loosened him up in the first corner of that triple right, left, right sequence, and then got him at the last one because he put him offline at first. Nadal is fast. Nadal is really, really fast. He's already on Muller. Muller's car, that Mitsubishi, is not as good of a car as Nadal's, and they're both very quick.
Yeah, but I think Muller has the edge on the talent.
Little bit of a side-by-side rub. Little bit. I tell you what, the interesting thing about that all-wheel drive car is you can see the way Muller pulls out of the corner on the acceleration zone down the main straight. The cars seem to have similar top speeds, but you can tell the all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars hit their VMAX quicker because they launch out of the corner better.
The generations are really short in this cars.
Especially as we come out of the last corner there, you can see...
Oh, Bila.
I think I saw maybe...
You gave back the favor.
Biela and Pirro are really, really not happy with the way that Muller raced them, and they both want that position back. Stuck's still barely hanging on to the BMW in fifth.
It's shaping up to be a 5-way battle for the win.
And maybe even more than that, with a Lacey getting a little bit of a toe and starting to suck up the Hans-Joachim Stuck in the background as well.
Biela is again in the lead now.
What is going on?
It's lap 12, so we have 3 laps and a half to go. They've all waken up all of a sudden.
And McCain in 7th, catching this whole group in front of them, just set in the fastest lap. So we might have 6 or 7 cars involved by the end of this.
We can again. Trying the little PIT maneuver.
A little bit of one. Didn't get him that time with it. He was a little bit far back and only kind of clipped the bumper, so it didn't put much force on the leading car.
Now Biela's been attacked again by Muller. Tries to move on the airpin.
Man, that launch by the all-wheel drive cars out of the slower corners, really, really good. And they're excellent on the brakes, too, because of the stability. That was actually one of the cleanest overtakes I've seen by any driver all race. That was absolutely textbook. He got a good launch out of the previous corner. He got alongside in the braking zone. He pulled even through the corner and then pulled ahead on the exit. That's exactly how you want to get that done.
It's all but over here for the final 3 laps of this first race. And I must say it's exceeding expectations in terms of spectacle and
this is really good.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. Ooh, Nidal got a better exit.
Way better exit, but don't forget that Alpha has more drag, but about the same amount of power as the Honda, so he's going to hit his maximum speed sooner, and Stuck got a decent launch.
Ooh, look at Pirro.
He's in the...
Pirro's gotten the position.
Pirro's on Stuck. Yeah, he's going to pull ahead there.
He exploited the argy-bargy between Nidal and Stuck and got the position.
Absolutely, that was really, really good.
That's how you do it in touring cars.
There's no overtake better than one gained with no effort. Let other people knock the shit out of each other and then you just slip on them. Pirro is quick, man. These Hondas up front are bad fast this week so far.
Yeah, that combination seems to be really good because we have one of the best cars and definitely one of the best touring car drivers on the Italian
And
Championship.
definitely, I wouldn't even say the best car. If you look at the raw statistics of the Honda's almost perfectly average in every single way.
Yeah, but they have quite a lot of power.
Yeah, they've got above average power, but they're average just about in every other way. So when you stick a good driver in it, especially that has a good overtaking stat, that's nice and aggressive like Pirro is back here, they can get stuck in. The fact that they're pretty average just about everywhere but have good power means they can really, really exploit the bad drag coefficient of some of the brickier, lightweight Italian cars like the Alfa and stuff like the Mazda. So that it's a good car for overtaking and making positions, is that Honda. Ooh, I say that as Tiff Nadell is still getting absolutely stuck into the back of both the Hondas in front of him because they knock 7 bells out of each other.
If the gap doesn't exist, you just create it, as Pirro showed.
If you no longer manually create the gap, you aren't a racing driver.
Now it's got a good launch and it's going to attack.
Really catching Muller's hurting on those tires, man. He really is. You can especially see it at the medium and high-speed corners, the last 2 or 3 of the lap, that long
2
combination.
laps to go.
You're starting to have a little bit of a look in turn 1.
Battle for the win, battle for third, battle for fifth. We have a lot of battles going on at the moment. I really don't know who will win this.
Tell you what, Muller's been doing a fantastic job, but you can really tell he's struggling on those tires.
Yeah. We had to attack at the start here. Ooh, there's a spin! And Bill is off. Wow.
Oh no, he was having such a good race. Oh wow, big contact between Bila and Nadal.
Now there's another big slowdown. Because Bila is rejoining.
That might actually be really, really interesting because of Biela's unsafe rejoin there and everybody stacking up. That might bring the group that's been behind the points-paying positions closer together to start fighting for that last point in 15th again. Now we got the Mazdas involved.
And we also have 2 retirements from Menu and Moreno. We'll see what happens later. And Nidal goes for second. Oh no.
Yeah, Muller's really struggling on those tires. That was a very clean move by Nadal. If Nadal can get by, it's going to be between Nadal and Pirio. The question is, has Nadal taking so much longer to get by Muller than Pirio did? Has he made the gap too big? Is he going to run out of laps to go up and fight for the win?
Oh, looks like that was the last lap, so Pirio wins the race.
Oh, it was? Interesting.
Yeah. Second place for Nidal.
Muller really doing a great job holding out in that Mitsubishi for third. That was a fantastic drive. Joachim Stuck in fourth. Brack in fifth. Great drive by him to make up a lot. Zelik in sixth, who we really didn't talk about much of the race.
Bila is out of the points. Incredible.
Wow. Because of that spin on the second to last lap, Biela is all the way out of the points by 1 position in 16th. And then we have Sakia coming in 19th, and then a huge gap to Hoy, and then McRae, and then Tarquini, and Schmidt retired on the very last lap.
Yeah, I think Hoy has some engine trouble or some damage because I really was expecting him to be a front runner. And the qualifying didn't help.
Qualifying did not help. There's a lot of the best drivers in average to decent cars did very poorly today. I'm actually quite surprised by that. If you look at the people that are down at the bottom of the order, it's a lot of the factory drivers and some of the really good drivers. I mean, we got Schmidt, Menu, and Monero were all running quite far to the back even before they DNF'd there. Hoy, Sakia. Very interesting.
These are the final standings for race 1. We have Piero as the race winner, followed by Nidal and Miller rounds the podium. Then we Stuck, Brack, Filic, Alesi, Woolhouse, Hattori, McCain, Christensen, Rydell, Scott, Cleland, Radicic. And this is the end of the points. Then we have Bila, really unlucky. I think the blame is on Nidal, but this is touring cars. Everything is legit in this championship. So, no crybabies, I'm sorry. And then we have Aiello, Thompson, Sekia, Hoy, McRae. McRae has beaten Tarquini, wow. We missed that overtake. And then we have 3 retirements with Schmidt, Menu and Moreno. And it looks like they were all due to their reliability. Because it's brakes and gearbox trouble. So really unfortunate. For the fastest lap we have Nathan McCain. 150.657. And he's almost a second faster than Rick Scott. It's like the Hamilton-Bottas rivalry here.
A rivalry, air quotes.
Looks like Scott is a bit faster on qualify, but McCain shows why he's the best during the race.
If we take a look at the times here, one of the things that intrigues me is some of the faster drivers that retired didn't actually have very good race pace laps either, interestingly enough. I think one of the big surprises to me is Schmidt in the VW Vento being so far down in the order just on merit of raw pace. As well as, I think, the two Volvos of McRae and Tarquini is a big surprise.
Some good money for the upgrades to catch up to the teams that are already on pace. Alright, race 1 is over. You might as well go for race 2 now. So I'm gonna disable practice and qualify, and we're going straight to the race. And let's see how the grid shapes up. There we go. On pole we have John Cleland, followed by Rick Scott. Ooh, Rick Scott has a great chance here.
Yeah, that's a good transfer. Scott, Newhouse, Brack, Christensen, Biela, all up in the top 10, and they were all really fast last race. Stuck in 12.
McRae might create the
I'm interested to see how much track position plays into the way the AI drivers interact with each other. Because what I noticed is, even though McRae finished really, really far in the back of the field, and drivers like Schmidt that were really fast finished far in the back of the field, it seemed to have been that they only finished so far back because they got involved in that initial stack up that happened a couple laps in and then lost a lot of positions. And then because the racing's so close, they just couldn't really get them back. So I'd be really, really interested to see how McRae does this race as the highest placed Volvo estate.
We have race winner Pirro only in 13th.
If Colin McRae still gets pooped on really, really bad in that car, we might have a little bit of a preseason balance issue to sort out.
Yeah. Then we have Moreno, Hattori, Secchia, Müller, Tarquini, Hoy. Oh, Hoy has been unlucky.
Poor Hoy. Starting where he finished in the last race, all the way down in 19th.
Then we have Radic, Schmidt, Nidel, and Thompson, and Zilic. Oh, we also have Nathan McKay. Ooh, this would be interesting. Last to first challenge. Also, Nidel has been shafted really badly.
Absolutely. Kasten Schmidt starting 21st after retiring and finishing 21st is also a little bit of a painful one. I'm not going to deny as the team owner for that team.
Alright, I'm going to remove all the fuel. And we're ready to start race 2. It's really nice to see all these really good liveries on the grid.
Gotta say, Lorenzo, thank you for all the hard work on the liveries. They're really, really fun.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. We're all having fun. That's what matters. Also, I haven't had a chance to look at the viewers count, so...
We do have, I believe most of the team owners, or at least about half of the team owners are watching. We do have 8 in the chat right now. I noticed that Sneath and a couple of the other team owners are in here. Thank you guys. We really appreciate you coming out to watch. We hope you like the commentary, even though we're a little bit behind because I have the stream delay and Lorenzo doesn't.
Yeah.
If you want it to get more popular, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave comments in the chat, and share it around.
And race 2 is off. I can't really tell who's in first. Looks like Cleland. Yeah. Keeps the first position. Brack got a flyer and he's already in third place.
Brack is absolutely rapid, and that car is bad fast, and he's a good driver, man. I'd be looking out for him in this one. He started nice and high up front.
Yeah. It's one to watch. Let's see the back of the field. Everyone seems fine, no crashes. That's good. We have all the cars in the race. Oh, and Scott is already attacking for first place. Yeah, but we were expecting that.
Absolutely. Especially with that poor 323 of Cleland up there. Cleland's a decent driver, and he's in an okay car, and they saved themselves a little bit of budget on that team. I wouldn't expect the Mazdas to challenge for wins early in the season, but they can be developed to be quite deadly. They are very light and have a good drag ratio, even if they're a bit down on power. You can physically see how the car could be lighter than some of the others because of how small and narrow and nimble it looks. He's really going to be under attack here early. Newhouse, Brack.
Uh-oh. Fire up.
But he's stacking
He's
up.
already missing the rear bumper. Oh, he's been attacked by Miller. That's a hard hit.
Really hard hit right there. Mitsubishi turning into a Mitsubashi there temporarily in order to try and get that, that position.
He's probably a bit annoyed, Miller, at losing the win.
I would be if I were him, that's for sure.
The yellow's doing its best to keep behind the race winner, Piero, which is already in 6th place.
Kasten Schmidt all the way up to 16th already from 21st on the grid, and Hattori up to 17th from 20th.
You can see Schmidt there in the distance trying to overtake already. And Colin McRae is in 8th place. He's doing his best.
Yeah, I really think that
afloat.
those 850s are going to struggle without their aerodynamics that they don't have that some of the other cars have. And
really aggressive from Piero.
And Piero was aggressive all of last race, but still a little bit more clean than some of the other drivers up front, so I did not expect to see that.
So Lazy trying to move on a yellow.
Already all the way around the outside from Piero, really good. And then a Lacey in there, too. Seriously, when one goes, two will follow. It really, really is just the case.
Here we have the battle of race 1 with Bila, Stuck and Miller all bunched up. But now it's for 12th place. We all have some work to do. Oh, Stuck! The power slide! Kasten Schmidt is already in the points. And Tarquini has overtook James Thompson. That's really impressive. Given that Russian Pride's Corolla is basically the same as Team JRA's one in terms of stats. McKinney is still last. Not a really good first couple of laps for him. Let's see the front. Scott is flying away.
Scott, yeah, it definitely seems like track position is worth a lot just because of how much time you lose.
Yeah.
Kasten Schmidt up to 14th from 21st already.
And Cleland is fending off to defend the 2nd place.
Poor Cleland is like just shitting absolute bricks right now, frankly, trying not to get mugged by everybody. He's in a car that's a second or 2 seconds a lap slower than everybody behind him.
Yeah, but he's like the top 3 of the best drivers of the championship and he shows now.
Yeah, just absolutely white knuckle on the wheel, like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. I don't envy that position one tiny little bit. I prefer to be the one doing the attacking.
John Newhouse already sitting away to get past. The hairpins is like the best overtaking possibility.
They really are, because those S's early on in Sector 1 here at Autopolis have all those combined corners back to back to back that you can attack and then counterattack and then defend and attack, and they really do produce good racing.
Now Newhouse has to do some catch up, because there's a really great gap between him and the first place. If we have... Oh, Cleland is giving up. And Brack is in 3rd place now. battle for the win. Now it's Piero's turn.
Cleveland doing absolutely everything he can, putting in quite a brave effort.
Just look at the bunch behind him.
I know.
Look at rush hour traffic.
This is so bad. There's so many of them. This is just like the show that Hans Joachim Stuck put on in the middle of the first round.
Ooh, Moreno exploiting the pit exit to try the overtake.
Reminiscent of the way everybody likes to typically drive in our Drivers' Championship here at BTCO when we're racing Donington. The pit lane exit doesn't have a blend line, it's got a checkered line, so you're technically allowed to use it.
Ooh, Christensen. He's battling for position 7 with Rydell as the edge. This is an interesting battle because they both manufacturer-backed teams.
I was really, really impressed by Brack last round. He seems like a very, very solid driver in a decent car for the front field.
I'm sure
I would
better than Rydell.
Yeah.
Ooh, now Rydell got a bad exit out of the airpin. And Preseason tried to get back the position. No, not enough space. And Peters already overtook Kenny Brack as well. Now he's in third place. He wants that clean sweep. And Rick Scott is losing some gap. Yeah, he's slowed down quite a bit.
Rick Scott in that all-wheel drive Audi could be struggling with the tire wear like we were talking about in race 1. Piero, absolutely rapid just like he was in round 1, just set the fastest lap back there in third. He's gaining on Newhouse, and Newhouse is gaining on Scott pretty decently every lap.
This is gonna be another great battle for the win. Let's see if Brack and maybe Lazy can catch up. I'm not ruling out Cleland already, but that will have to be a miracle.
I think Cleland is honestly such a nice pair of hands in that car that he's doing the best he can with the equipment he's been given. Those 323s will get faster during the course of the season, but early on they're really down on power. Although they are quite light. When they start getting some power upgrades sunk into that car, especially if the team risks 2 simultaneous developments and has both succeed for double price, they will definitely catch up quickly. I truly believe that. 323 is a great platform to start with.
Justin Smith already first in position.
Really on it. All the way around the outside for 12th as well.
And now that's the Will Hoy I know.
That's the Will Hoy we know.
He's trying to get back to the positions that matter. He definitely has the means to do so.
I love how you can physically see why the Vento has such a crappy drag coefficient. it's perfectly box shaped, and it's taller than the Volvo estate. It's just a barn. Look at how
speaking of tall cars, just look at the Sentra.
Yeah.
Look at the suspension ride.
It's just huge. It's awesome. I love that.
Oof, almost spins it. I don't want to jinx it, sorry, Lovan. And that's team manager of BTNM, David Osborne, said. It's very much listen. Here we also have, Colin McCree is already P24.
That's really bad.
There's a lot of
that
work
Volvo 850 needs some balance work, I think.
Needs some wings.
Yeah, if we can either add some downforce to it or like give it a really low drag coefficient to make up for the fact that it doesn't have downforce.
I've already given it like 10 horsepower and shaved off 10 kilos, but it didn't work.
Oh, it needs more.
Yeah. I might have to bump it up to 400 horsepower, I don't know.
It doesn't have to be good. It wouldn't be a competitive car, but it's sad watching McRae just stumble around in the
I
back.
think it's easier to have an estate cup for these two drivers to battle. To try and win something. In Tarquini's case, I think it's also the team's name that's pretty hefty on the total weight. That thing is incredibly named. It's a mouthful to pronounce. Ooh, Cleland is trying to fight back for the podium.
Absolutely, I love this. This is great to see. Absolutely great to see.
He's past it.
Those 323s are light, so that means they're going to be good on tires, and it also doesn't have that much power. You can watch him getting pulled down the main straight here pretty badly, but when they get to the lower speed stuff, I would not count Cleland out in that 323, especially once it starts to get some upgrades, because as it is so light and has less power than some of the other cars, it looks after its tires very well. I expect the pace of that car to be strong overall the course of a whole race run.
Yeah. They short, they're nimble, they're easy to throw into corners. Must be a pleasing car to ride. Yeah, Kenny Brack getting mad at that Mazda. He knows he has the better car, the better equipment, but he can't get past. I spoke too soon, apparently, because he's now got the move. Oh, and what happened to Rick's car? He's suddenly down in third. Wow. I was trying to fight back. But something has definitely happened. Maybe a little mistake. Went too wide somewhere. He's now lost the lead in favor of Emanuele Pirro, which is going for his second win in a row from P13 on the grid. Let's see if Scott can fight back. I'm sure he can. He's in the Mercedes of the field, so he knows he can. And by the way, McCain is... Oh, we have a laser taking Brack. Oh, and Cleland is missing, Oh, it's down to P11. What happened? Oh, it's missing the rear bumper, so...
That explains a lot. Somebody
Yeah.
must have tagged him to try and get by him because he was holding him up for so long. Gaston Schmidt still in 13, pressuring Christensen in the faster Tom's Factory Carina E there.
Oh, and there's contact! Oh, and that Tor... Oh... That Tor is off. Too aggressive there, son.
Oh, wow, that was way too opportunistic.
Oh, and Schmidt seems to have some trouble and is stuck on the track now.
Oh, maybe he got his left rear tire cut.
Yeah, I think that's a DNF for sure. Let's see if we get teleported back to the pits. But it's not moving, so there's definitely some trouble to the car. Maybe a suspension broken.
It definitely looks like the left front tire corner is sitting way lower on the track than it normally would be, and you can see that it's kind of canted to the left, so I assume he had a left rear suspension collapse after that contact.
That's a real shame. He was doing the race of his life.
All right, double DNF for my team, guys.
You jinxed it. You said it was having a good race and
I know.
Hattori heard you.
I got myself Hattori'd right in the butthole. He Hattori my rear suspension off.
True Japanese banzai spirit.
Haiko Teni. I thought we were playing Touring Car Manager, not Rising Storm.
Japanese drivers are famous for being incredibly aggressive, even more than necessary. And
Earning that reputation today for sure, as well as that Super Formula race that happened recently in real life that I'm not sure if any of our viewers have seen, but they decided to go 4 wide into turn 1 at Suzuka for the lead. That didn't end well.
yeah, that wasn't a great planning for a move. And Stuck is already in 6th place. Should keep an eye on him. Peter is flying away. He's filled Rick Scott's shoes as the absolute dominator of the field. At this point, I must say he's the favorite for the title. If he can keep this pace on all the tracks and in all the races. Or maybe it's just the home race boost for Honda. Who knows? John Lazy is up to 2nd. Also, Will Hoy is trying.
Will Hoy.
He's trying hard, and it shows. It's paying off. Started from the absolute. I think it was P21 at the start. Yep. And he's in 9th now.
Good. That confirms that Hoy and Kasten Schmidt's driver ratings are really helping them get the performance out of those cars that we wanted to see.
Yep.
Race 1 maybe wasn't so good with that. I think because of that stack up and that yellow flag in Sector 3, they just got stuck too far behind to eventually catch back up. But that does prove positive that the driver ratings are working as intended. Good drivers in average to slightly bad cars can definitely have midfield results even when starting from the back if they drive well, which is good to see. Hoy in the Laguna, which is a very, very decent midfield to back front field car, as an excellent driver. It's good to see him make it up from last. This is quite a recovery drive. Muller still extracting everything he possibly can out of the Mitsubishi, but maybe not doing quite so well this race because he didn't have the track position early. It looks like it's going to be Piero, Newhouse, Menu, Scott, and Brack for the win up front in that group of front 5.
Also, Bila couldn't replicate the great pace he had in race 1. Is now stuck in P14, still in the points, but I'm sure that's not what team manager wanted. Yeah, no, after seeing the blistering pace.
Let's have a really, really good race up here.
Village. It's really far back.
Really is. Quite a lot. He might be nursing an issue, because I noticed that did happen to many of the drivers in the backfield in race 1 that eventually retires because of braking or gearbox failures. So maybe certain parts on the cars with worse reliability wearing also affects the performance of those parts and thus the speed. I would not be surprised.
Here we have the Brick Cup. First and second place.
Don't worry. To those who have fielded the 850 estate, don't worry. We love the car. We'll find a way to make it a little bit more competitive for you before the season begins. It wouldn't be fair to have you just...
I'll try.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair to just have you tootling around in last in that. We might not have a ton of options, but we'll try to figure something out.
Piro just cruising at this point. Doesn't have the need to risk anything. Just enjoying these last laps. Let's see if Newhouse can make him feel the threat. So another big surprise, Rick Scott couldn't keep up and is now in 6th place. Wow, all those resources and they can't even score a podium.
I know.
I can bash this team because it's just AI, so no team man gets offended.
They suck!
Yeah.
They're awful, we hate them.
And let's face it, we all hate Raven West. If you play the great games, we all hate Raven West. I don't remember from where Stuk started, but that's another great comeback.
Honestly, very, very good.
He's sniffing the podium at the moment.
And he was, I believe, midfielder further back. I'm not quite sure exactly where, but I know he started somewhere between 9th and 15th. I seem to remember. He was doing a good job. Christensen's putting in a really great drive. He started in the back with Schmidt as well. They were 20th and 21st, I believe, on the same row together, and they were both kind of up near the top 13. Muller's putting pressure.
Bila is overtaking the factory Toyota.
Wow, what a move. And Cleland still holding on to the back of...
It's not all Cleland is ruined the chance to Bila. And the other Toyota is trying to attack, and it works. Even a potty.
Everybody getting in there now.
Really unlucky. Oh, and there's a crash. What happened? I think someone spun.
Just a little local yellow. Looks like it's cleared now. Everybody's starting to move again. Cleland honestly doing a fantastic
I'm
job
really
with the
gutted for
amount of
Cleland
damage.
because, judging by the condition of his rear bumper, something happened when he was on the front of the field, and
He was doing a good job holding everybody up, and somebody decided they didn't take too kindly to it.
He had the pace for top 5, I guess.
Still doing a really, really good job here, and he is stuck
tackling
onto the back
Mueller.
of Muller.
Wow. Race 1 contender being overtaken by Cleland.
Around the outside at the final combination, right-left as well. Very, very good move. Very
Also
cleanly
by
executed.
Thompson now, so oof, they're touching on the straight. It doesn't end up well usually.
A little bit of side to side, not too bad.
Mueller has given up totally. Let's get back to the front of the field. And Piero is starting to feel the pressure. How many laps to go? We're on lap 13, so 2 laps to go. This might be the battle for the win, the final 2 laps. Let's see if Newhouse can catch the leader. Ooh, and he's already here. Wow. How did he do that? Found Alpha second in 2 corners. Oh, they've heard the sound of a crash. I think it's Seki. Yeah. Stumbling down the order. Might have been rammed by someone, but now the focus is here for the battle for the win. I think Piro got a bit too much relaxed with that huge
Just
lead.
a little bit. Yeah. Don't want to back off the pace too much.
Let's see if he can pull a Lewis Hamilton and instantly find 1 second of pace. But I doubt it. It's a really good battle between the Volvos. Now Pierre is starting to pull away again. I'm lazy watching from the distance and hoping that those two come to clash. Hoy is now up to 5th place. Great drive.
Very, very
from
good
the Brit.
run.
Ken Breck trying to defend from the Audi. And this is the final lap. And I think Piero got it in the back. In the bag. Unless he messes up big time. He's going for the clean sweep of 2 race wins. Oh, and the Lazy is attacking John Newhouse. That's unexpected. It's not over yet. Seems like the move didn't pay off. And he's lost the advantage. Oh, and this authority trying the exact same move again. Wow, needs to calm down a bit.
Yeah, the Corollas do look like they're pretty fast in the light race, some of the other drivers are saying in the chat. It does seem to make sense. Hondas seem to be good overall and great if you put a good driver in them. Piero really, really doing good out front. Newhouse has been getting faster all race. He's doing well. Lacey, really quick.
Last corner. And Emanuele Pirro wins race 2 of the preseason round at Autopolis. Followed by Newhouse and Lazy. Good job by Stuck and also Hoy. Great comeback.
Brack is going to come home in 6th, a little far behind the lead pack, but still a good showing.
Good job by Moreno.
Holding off
recovering from
the Raven West of Scott. Absolutely great job by Marino. Tiff Nidell doing quite well in the second race as well after a strong showing in race 1.
Felic gained like 8 positions in the final 5 laps.
Yeah, wow. He did. Really, really came alive late in the race. Muller salvaging in 11th.
Right there, closing the points.
Hattori making up a lot of spaces from the back of the field to get into 13th. Thompson still holding on for points as well, which is really good.
Terrible race for Nathan McCain. Wow.
McCain and Christensen not doing really good.
And then we have Tarquini ahead of
Tarquini and McRae in the 850s on the end of the field.
And so we rope up this first round. And everything seems to work fine except for those 2 Volvos. So I'm pretty pleased.
Interesting, average lap speed and pace seems to be slightly lower than it was in race 1.
Yeah, because of all the mixed grid and the catch up, the comebacks.
And if we scroll down to the bottom of the standings, it definitely was a suspension failure caused by that contact
Yeah.
for Christensen.
That's really unfortunate. We can't see the paddock at the moment, but Schmidt is fuming and is trying to... he's looking for a Tori.
We have an angry German in our VW, that's for sure.
Hattori is not gonna come out of the car that soon. And so, here are the standings. Pirro with a clean sweep. Great race and great performance. He's definitely the favorite for the title at the moment. And the podium is completed by Newhouse and the Lazy.
I would honestly really be looking at Stuck and Brack later in the season as well as they start to get some upgrades onto those cars.
Brack's performance is impressive as well because he's overshadowed his much more famous teammate, which is also more used to touring cars. So that's a great surprise. Alright folks, the stream for today is over, and I'll let you know the dates for the first round of the season at Mantorp in Sweden. Hope you enjoyed. Big thanks to Ted for his great commentary.
Yeah, no problem. It's good to be here. Sorry about the little bit of a delay, guys. We're still working through it. Lorenzo has the live stream because he's got his camera account in the game, but I have to use the stream. So if I'm a little bit behind him or it sounds kind of awkward, that's why. We're doing the best we can with the system we worked out. I'm
afraid that's really difficult to solve. We will have to host the races online, but GTR2 doesn't allow it.
So we're just going to have to work with that. Thanks for coming out. We hope you had fun. Stay safe. Don't let anybody cough on you.
And see you soon.